Okay, welcome everybody. Let's start off today. Obviously, we're going to get into markets, Fed policy decisions, things that we've talked about here for some time. One of my favorite professors, Jeremy Siegel, in his Wharton School. I've been following him as a mentor to me. Just for over the years, he's just done an absolutely unbelievable job. Again, a lot of his historical charts and tracing asset classes over extended periods of time, and he always got a common sense approach to the markets. And again, you don't see that often out of economists, and I happen to be a big fan of his. He had a bit of a moment on Friday. It was on CNBC, and he was getting really hot and bothered about what's taking place and what the Fed is doing right now and how they're getting it wrong. Again, Jeremy, myself, several others out there warned everyone that the Fed was making a mistake for some time. Just want to remind everybody that the Fed was buying bonds this past March. Okay, they were buying bonds this past March. The 400 economists at the Fed, PhD economists, telling us that inflation was transitory, when Siegel, myself, several others here and there were saying, no, this is not good. What the Fed needed to do was to raise rates slightly to temper things, to cut back on the bond purchases. But no, again, didn't go in line with what the current administration wanted. And that's to get Build Back Better. That was $4 trillion plan. Remember that one? Build Back Better, infrastructure bill. They got that. You got to think about it. Biden's gotten a lot through. He really has. He has accomplished a lot in his time. I mean, nothing as big as Obamacare, even though the student loan thing might turn into something big like that eventually. Anyway, so he goes off on a rant, complaining about what the Fed is doing right now and the need to focus on the supply issues. And agree wholeheartedly. And later on, I found out, I didn't realize Judy Shelton was on Fox Business. And I went back and I watched the interview, and I'm a big fan of Judy Shelton. Again, echoing things that we've been saying here. Siegel's been saying, several others out there. The Fed is blowing it here. They are. I do think, people saying, the Fed has been clear, they're not going to pivot. I'm not so sure. Are you taking a look at what's happening around the globe? You want to go on a European vacation? You want to go to Italy this fall? One of the best times to go to visit Italy, by the way. It's 96 cents to euro. Wow. This is the strongest the dollar's been against the pound, I think, ever. Get your arms around that. Again, people saying, it's because the UK's decision to cut taxes. Yeah, that's playing a part in it. But the reality is, we're raising rates. And I don't know if you're aware of this. Foreign banks can sell. What they're going to do is they have any sort of treasury holdings. What they'll do is they'll sell those treasury holdings, okay, and deposit that cash at the Fed and collect interest that the Fed will pay them. Foreign governments do this. And when we have higher rates than everyone else, money comes in. Anyway, again, they're doing it wrong. Yeah, I'm almost going back to that, that ridiculous rant that James Cramer went on back during the beginning of the financial crisis, another situation that we saw coming before everybody else. Well, not everybody else. There's several others as well. That's not accurate. It was Krinkanos and various different people saw what was going to happen. But anyway, Cramer, they know nothing, goes off on this mega rant. Yeah, a little too late, Jim. And again, this is this faith in these models and these economists. And we just need to get the hell out of the way. Do you understand that interest rates will set all by themselves? How often have we talked about the importance of letting money be priced accordingly? Stop trying to prop up markets, support this, support that. Let the chips fall where they may. Let rates settle where they're supposed to settle. All this artificial engineering. Again, it's like Island of Dr. Moreau here. They're messing around with Mother Nature. Let rates set where they're going to set and just step the hell away from all of this. We've been told this. This is, again, it's conventional wisdom, and conventional wisdom is poison. We tell you again and again and again that, we need the Fed. And the Fed's got a dual mandate, and inflation and keeping unemployment low. Do you really think that they play any real part in that? I mean, come on, let's be honest. I went over this last week. My history, the Fed just makes matters worse. That's all it does, is it just makes matters worse. It starts fires and then says, oh, I got to put the fire out. The arsonist and firefighter all rolled into one. And interestingly enough, Judy Shelton, again, talked about often here on the program, she was rejected. She was a candidate for the Fed, but they rejected her because she made too much sense, and she went against, again, the groupthink that exists there. Anyway, several stories here I want to talk about when it comes to financial preparation. There's one in the Wall Street Journal. Buying the stock market dip is backfiring. Investors keep piling in anyway. Again, this is talking about some of the juveniles that work at the Wall Street Journal nowadays. Isn't working. What does that mean? It didn't work today. Didn't work the past month. Hasn't worked the past year. So in this article, they're talking about, people who keep buying the dip and buying in, they're getting burned. No, they're not. Unless they're a trader. Unless they need their money next week, next month, or sometime soon. No, they didn't. I can be honest, people. We're big when it comes to dollar cost averaging and telling people to consistently put money away on a regular basis. Well, you think that I'm some sort of bloody genius and was able to say, okay, everybody back into the pool when the S&P hit 666 back in February of 2009? No. We were consistently buying throughout the entire mess, high quality companies. And many times we bought, guess what? It went down the next day. Bear it no mind if you have a long-term outlook. Ask me, I get emails and phone calls, people concerned, new listeners. When do you think the market is going to turn? I don't know. When it does. And in my heart of hearts, I do think that we're probably pretty good chance, again, unless there's some, significant changes or some different wording coming out of some of these Fed governors. I think that we're going to continue to slide. But like I said, bear it no mind. It'll be okay. We've done this before. Not our first rodeo. Again, investor sentiment is at the worst level since the 2008 financial crisis. From Bank of America survey says investors increasingly bearish on U.S. stock market outlook. Well, of course. Again, you're looking at your statement and whatnot. And again, bearishness, ultimate bearishness ends up being bullishness if you get your mind right. Okay? Eventually, it turns. I've often talked about this, the old J.P. Morgan quote, during bear markets, recession, whatever it may be. I don't know the exact phrase that he used, stocks return to their rightful owners. And you're starting to see some of the institutions and some of these fund guys going on some of these business programs and saying, well, the mom and pop investor hasn't sold yet. They haven't sold yet. We got to wait. Market's not going to turn until, the average investor sells out of their portfolio. You want that. They want that. They would love to see one of those, what they like to call capitulation moments where, again, they're smart money. They want dumb money to do something dumb so they can take advantage of it. You ever hear him constantly beating that drum? I'm kind of hoping and praying out there that people don't fall victim to the whole dumb money thing and decide to do something stupid. I talk about don't do stupid stuff. Don't do stupid stuff. Don't do stupid. You got quality in your portfolio, you're going to be just fine. Anyway, no surprise here. Pension funds, and again, this is because of the artificially low interest rates that we've had for an extended period of time. Pensions have had to get a hell of a lot more aggressive, and they've had to get involved in private equity and going all in with private equity and a lot of other speculative types of investments because, again, the cash position in their portfolios wasn't garnering them any sort of yield. I mean, it's doing better now. It's doing much, much better now. But piling into all of this private equity, and guess what? A lot of this private equity is going to get repriced very, very soon, and it's going to definitely dent a lot of these pension funds. Again, I got a kick out of this. We made, again, should I make fun of this? People lost a lot of money. Guys, I have to, you have to have some sort of humor with these things. You do. Celsius. Yeah, that was a company that was telling everybody, sure, put your crypto here and we'll pay you 18% on it. Again, let me channel my inner 7th grade math teacher. Show me your work. How is that freaking possible? How do you pull an 18% yield out of your buttocks on cryptos? And again, these guys should be in jail in my book, but I don't know. Did they do anything illegal? Their lawyers should be like, well, we thought we could. But again, dumb money decided to flow in that direction. Celsius is bankrupt and froze withdrawals this past June, and their investors' funds are in limbo. It was limbo. Is limbo like purgatory? They're in money purgatory. Anyway, you know what Celsius is trying to do right now? I'm not making this up. They've decided they're going to issue another cryptocurrency. It's called an IOU cryptocurrency. Now, man, I shit you not. It's like out of Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. They had that suitcase full of money, and they kept taking the money out, and they were spending and everything. And all they did was they stuck IOUs back into the suitcase. They had no means of paying it back. So these guys are counting on the stupidity of investors. Oh, I'm going to get my IOU crypto. Again, it's one big frickin' Ponzi scheme. And the thing about Ponzi schemes, people, certain people make money in Ponzi schemes. The overwhelming majority lose everything. Anyway, I like this one. Poor IPO stock performance weighs further on new issue market. 87% of the companies that went public last year are trading below their initial public offering prices. That's fine for the private equity companies and the venture capital companies that put these deals together. They got the ball over the goal line. Getting the ball over the goal line is taking the company public, waiting out the holding period, which I forget how long it is now, 30, 45 days, and getting out. Go on, take the money and run. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Most of these companies, I no different than when I was doing investment banking back in the 1990s. I could look at a prospectus and say, guess what? Piece of shit. I realized, look at it, we went public, rent the runway. What's the thing down? 90 something percent or something like that from its IPO price? Am I shocked? No, rent the runway was basically you have clothes delivered that you borrow and then you have to return. And I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying, how the hell are you going to make, again, it sounds cool. Some of these businesses, they sound like things that came up in like a 9th grade entrepreneurial class. I mean, kids like, oh, I got an idea. And, it's creative. That's creative. It's great. But eventually you have to make money. Okay, the whole underwear gnome, South Park thing, first collect underpants, second question mark, third profit. All these companies, big question marks in their business plans. If they've got big question marks in their business plans, let me make a suggestion to you. Stay away. Great piece today in the New York Times. Yes, I read the New York Times every single day. Yes, it's articles, and I can read through all the biases there, but I can also read through the nonsense and the biases on the other side of the coin, too, with the Wall Street Journal on through. But anyway, neither here nor there. Good piece talking about starter homes and how they're just, they're not being built anymore. This story, as recently as the 1990s, Jason Nagley started off. The home building industry was still constructing what real estate ads would brightly call the starter home. In the Denver area, he sold newly built 2-story houses with 3 bedrooms and 1,400 square feet or less. Price, $99,000 to $125,000, around $200,000 in today's dollars. That house would be in tremendous demand today, but can't make them anymore. Can't make them anymore. It's not viable. It's not a viable business for home builders. We've got an issue here. And again, a lot of it has to do with zoning. A lot of it has to do with the price of land. A lot of these builders, they want to squeeze, and I don't agree with it, squeezing these massive homes onto these tiny lots. And again, I understand why they have to do that. Okay, lots now, you're talking $100,000 when they used to be $10,000 in many of these places. Not to mention, they're talking about just these starter homes alone. They're talking about permitting fees, $40,000 to $50,000 in many markets. Just in permits, 40 to 50 grand. And not to mention, if you got to knock a tree down or something like that, they're going to bang you out for another 10, 15 grand. Again, you can't make that home. You're going to have to put up a McMansion. You're going to have to put something much bigger in order to recoup your costs. You think about that, what a racket real estate is in this country. What a flipping racket. Closing costs, state filing fee, all the BS and other ways that the government just milks us for more and more. Anyway, it's an issue. There's no doubt about it. Apple, I told you this was coming. Apple is now making the iPhone 14 in India. Apple is always, they've made phones in India, but they were always older models. Now they're making the newest model there. Currently, it's just going to be for their domestic consumption. But Apple's saying by 2025, 25% of all iPhones will be made in India. Definitely a shift. Okay, wind is blowing in a different direction, obviously. Andy Kessler, and again, I always love to highlight his columns here on the program. This guy, I happen to love the stuff that he puts out. He's asking the same question that I've been asking here on the program: is where are all these workers? Where are all these workers? And all of these people that are, quiet quitting or, then quitting, where did they go? Where did they go? He seems to think, in his column here, that, moms and dads are again, facilitating all of these slackers, them staying home and ordering pot online and playing video games all day. He might be onto something. Again, you got the baby boomer generation and $71 trillion in assets they have. That's baby boomers. And I'm Generation X, and our generation's done quite well too. Again, we're the last generation where you could no participation trophies. You bang your knee, rub some dirt on it, get back out there. Again, I haven't changed. It's always how I've always coached, but and taught my kids. But anyway, again, it's a great column, Wall Street Journal. He was basically used the phrase bohemians. And he says, now we have unemployed, perpetually plugged in, dopamine-addled cyber bohemians. Let's call them cybos. Before you send me hate mail, I'm only talking about the underachievers, including those who traded crypto and NFTs and lost all their stimulus and unemployment money after the crypto crash. Now cybos, with nothing better to do, are streaming away, including the first 5 of an eventual 50 hours of Amazon's new Lord of the Rings show. And in the darkness, bind them. I've also discovered that a huge idle couch-bound class spends its days playing the Battle Royale video game Fall Guys, the latest craze with 50 million players. It's nonviolent, almost cuddly, and be warned, ridiculously addictive fun. Zoned out cybos in at least 19 states can buy weed at dispensaries, Twinkies optional, including Oakland, California's descriptively named Smokeland, which delivers. Yes, while you're working, many 20 and 30-somethings are giggling, wasting away, playing mindless video games, and humming along to those classic stick lines. Is it any wonder I've got too much time on my hands? Remember that Styx tune? But anyway, it is cultural malaise, motivational submission. Society now promotes mediocrity and calls it equity. Witness the scarcity of SAT test scores, requirements for college. Sadly, once you get a taste of the easy life, it's difficult to pull up your socks and try hard again. And I agree with that. And I said handouts and giveaways, whether they be government or whether it be from mom and dad. It's a narcotic. It's an addiction. People get addicted to it. So again, to all you parents, if you've got some slacker there in the house, you want to do the country a solid, you want to help when it comes to inflation, kick them out. Change your Wi-Fi password. Change the Wi-Fi password. Do something. Do something. Anyway, get all the news flutter, CNN, AB. Oh my God, what's going on in Italy? Now, if you've noticed, every column or everything that they sit there, they always far right, a party with neo-fascist roots, the brothers of Italy, roots going back to Mussolini. Do you ever hear the media describe the Democratic Party as the party with deep ties to the Confederacy and slavery? Did you ever hear them describe, the Republican Party as the party of Lincoln? No, no, no. We can't be honest with people or anything like that, right? Anyway, again, we're going to see what's going to happen here. Italy basically has not grown at all in decades. Decades. It's a shame. It really is. Again, it's a place that I still live there. Went to school. I absolutely love it. The natural beauty is just incredible. The talent the people have, the type of craftsmanship, the things that are built there, especially in northern Italy, are off the charts. The amount of corruption that exists there, not to mention the fact that their birth rate is just awful. It's too expensive. Too expensive to have children. One of the sad things about Europe, in many places, that one kid, you can't afford to have anymore. Again, I would suggest that, again, she also allows from more golden visas and whatnot, and allowing people to reside there. You want to attract people. Other places, they do have that there in Italy. Greece is doing it as well, and it's quite inexpensive as far as an alternative is concerned. But again, at some point in time, you've got to stimulate the economy, to stimulate business. You want to keep your kids there. You don't want them moving abroad. You don't want them to have to go elsewhere. You want them to stay there to build and create, and everything that they've done. Everything they've done. Again, these are well entrenched unions in many places. It's difficult to do away. That the large bureaucracy that they have there, the size of government, which is just, it weighs on it. But again, we can look there, and we can also look here to the United States, and one can say we haven't done really much growing at all. I mean, obviously, coming out of the pandemic, we saw growth. But, you're going all the way back to Obama, where, they gave up. They gave up. I mean, the Obama administration, for a while there, they thought they were going to come rip-roaring, which we should have. Normally we do. The United States comes rip-roaring out of a downturn, out of a recession, especially a deep one like we had, like the Great Recession. And they decided to go all in, the Obama administration, with government intervention and government meddling. And do you remember, Joe Biden was in charge of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, and Obama, because nobody messes with Joe. Mm-hmm. And remember, Joe Biden, we got recovery summer, which never came. And we had this muted growth quarter after quarter, year after year. And then they just basically said, well, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. We've been lucky. The United States has been lucky for way too long with the type of growth we've seen. Everybody's just got to get used to this lower level of growth. Again, just become like Europe. Don't have to. Even though there's things about Europe and things that they do over there that I happen to agree with, that I happen to be a big fan of, that I like. But as far as, tinkering with an economy, being heavily involved and having bureaucrats involved, no, stay the hell out of it. Told you this was coming. It's the new president of Colombia has declared, this was at the UN, declared that the war on drugs has failed. I don't agree. I don't agree. How did I say that? I do not agree that the war on drugs has really done much of anything. Sorry. We've gone over it here on the program, and again, it's something you want to debate me on. That's fine. I happen to agree with Colombia's president that it has failed. They're looking to legalize cocaine. Now, what the hell are we going to do then? We've been working with Colombia for, again, decades, and without a doubt, that country has, the economy has gotten better. They've done a myriad of different things, but where does it come from? It comes from Colombia, it comes from Bolivia. And you take a look. It's real simple. Okay. Again, this is how you use the markets to tell you what's exactly going on. What is the street price of cocaine? What is it inflation adjusted over the past several decades? Heroin, whatever it may be. And if you see the price is very, very low, that's telling you one of two things. Either or people are not using the drugs, or there's quite the supply of them. Supply and demand. Works with drugs, works with any product that's out there. It is what it is. They're for every drug bust. They talk about these massive drug busts that we see all the time. For every drug bust, you understand the amount that actually gets in. And we're doing it wrong. And again, he's decided, he actually made the point is he's saying, hey, listen, we said, cocaine is not that many deaths from overdoses when it comes to I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what our DA is going to do next. They're going to legalize cocaine in Colombia. Whew. Anyway, again, Joe Manchin took to the Wall Street Journal today to push for his permitting overhaul, which, again, it's beneficial to the country, but it's really beneficial to West Virginia. And I don't think that he's going to get enough Democrats and Republicans to go along with it. I don't. Again, this was, how Manchin sold out when it came to the inflation. Again, every single time I say it, it hurts my head because it's a lie. The Inflation Reduction Act. Anyway, quickly. This one. Yeah, you get David Malpass. David Malpass appointed by Trump, if I'm not mistaken, to the World Bank. Al Gore and John Kerry are going after David Malpass because David Malpass is not jumping up and down about climate change. They want the World Bank and they want those funds there to basically backstop stupid investments. So I don't believe in subsidizing any of this green shit. Okay? If it was worthwhile, if it made sense, it would get money. Money will always go to places that it's actually useful. All you're doing by subsidizing these green initiatives, whatever the hell you're calling them, okay, is you're propping up failures. You're creating zombies, the walking dead. Again, case in point, we mentioned the American Recovery Reinvestment Act under Obama. How many companies did we, the taxpayers, take our money, put into these BS solar companies, battery companies, all this stuff? They're all gone. They're all out of business because once we stop subsidizing them, they collapse. Failure needs to happen in order for things to grow. You screw up. Mention rent the runway. Well, we tried that idea. It doesn't work. Move on. We keep pushing these agendas, and now they want the World Bank to backstop these investments. The World Bank is there to poverty initiatives, and I'm not a big believer in the IMF or the World Bank or any of that crap anyway, because there's always so much politics involved and who ends up with the money, and then more often than not, the majority of the money ends up in a Swiss bank account or someplace in the Caymans by some despot from some third world shithole. Trump said that, right? He got in trouble for calling him third world. Anyway, I'm right here. They want to get rid of Malpass. They're actually thinking about putting Al Gore in charge of the World Bank. Yeah. John Kerry was recently in Africa lecturing all of these developing nations about how they need to get away from using natural gas. Again, World Bank is supposed to alleviate poverty. You want to get rid of poverty, they're going to need cheap energy. Cheap, efficient energy. And he's telling these countries, after how we built our country, and he's telling them that they have to stop their development and they should be putting up solar panels and Tesla batteries. It's hard to, is there any bigger a-hole in government service than John Kerry? He's got to be up there. He's got to be top 10. Yeah, top 10 of government a-holes. You got Kerry on that list. Yeah, you got to throw Lindsey Graham in there on the Republican side. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Watchdog on Wall Street.com. Watchdog on Wall Street.com. We'll see you.